and when I felt at ease, I heard another horrible sound. I heard a sharp scream that sounded like a man.
My dad is a carpenter by trade, so we've never really needed to hire any carpenters. And I know a little bit myself. I've done some woodworking. I took shop class when I was young in high school, and I followed my dad around as a kid and kind of picked up wood and nails and little bits and bobs here and there, and I'd put stuff together and call it a project. And honestly, I haven't practiced a whole bunch, but I know a lot of fundamental stuff, and YouTube will teach you a whole bunch too. So when I ended up starting to get my own places and need things, I ended up doing my own projects. I put together sawhorses first, and that way I could use them as kind of tools, to cut bigger boards and get into bigger projects. And I actually made the stairs that lead up to my house, which really lifted high off the ground due to the fact that we live in a pretty steep flood zone. So all in all, never really had carpenters at my house besides my dad's help, of course. But I've had contractors before I went around, and sometimes you get some weird characters, I remember we had to have a few inspections done when we moved into this place over here. And when we had those inspectors around, some of them have some weird personality quirks. Maybe they're because they're not used to working so much with the public, They're outside a lot, they're doing a lot of contract work, and they don't have to talk to anybody but their employees or their helpers day in and day out, except for maybe buying supplies and stuff. So when they kind of meet you, they're gruff, and maybe they're a little bit socially awkward. And I've met a couple in my day that I was just like, yeah, he's a hardworking guy. He's not necessarily Mr. Charisma. There's a reason why he's not in sales. You know what I mean? So carpenters sometimes could have that little outlook. I don't know what this carpenter is all about, but it's a horror story by Wansee Entertainment that we're going to react to, so it's probably pretty interesting. Make sure to head on over to Wansee's channel, guys. Click the subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you like reaction videos, make sure to click subscribe on my channel as well. Let's get into the animation. The Carpenter at My House.
This happened not long after we moved into our house in 2003.
Okay.
It was a nice and big house, which was made in the 1950s. One day I was in my backyard watering the grass, and then out of the corner of my eye, I saw something that made me pause.
Whoa.
There was a man standing next to the shrubs near our backyard's wall. He was dressed like a carpenter. His head looked like it was tilted sideways.
Oh.
And his body was slightly facing our fences sideways.
Why you got the Grudge sound going on? That's the sound from that movie, The Grudge. That is some creepy stuff. First of all, if your head is like this, there's something seriously wrong with you. If you're moving around and your head is like that, and it's not a normal deformity, you need to see a doctor. In this case, I think she needs a priest.
Then he saw me and smiled kindly at me. At first, I thought he was fixing someone's house, and that it was his job. However, only after he faced me, I realized that wasn't the case. When I looked at him with narrowed eyes, I noticed that his neck was visibly broken, causing his head to awkwardly tilt to the side.
Oh!
I then saw that he waved at me once, but I was too shocked to scream at the time.
What?
After I regained consciousness, I looked around, but he had vanished and had literally faded away.
Oh my God!
2 nights later, I woke up at 3 a.m. Noise was coming from my ceiling. It sounded like someone wearing construction boots was walking very slowly.
You working on your roof?
I started to freak out, thinking that it might be a thief. However, I suddenly realized that that part of the roof was so thin, which meant nobody could walk on it. The steps abruptly stopped after a while, and when I felt at ease, I heard another horrible sound. I heard a sharp scream that sounded like a man, then a loud thud, as if someone had dropped on my ceiling, followed after.
That's what happened to him! That's how his neck's broken, bro! He fell off the house! Oh my God!
I covered my head with a blanket. My hands and whole body shivered. And after 10 minutes of nothing, I peeked outside. It was completely quiet. I saw and heard nothing, but I couldn't fall back asleep that night. The next morning, I started to look up the history of the house. To my surprise, it turned out that there was a report about the carpenter I met a few days before in the
There
backyard.
you go.
In 1958, he had been hired to fix the roof while the owners were on vacation.
Wow.
However, the carpenter had fallen abruptly through the weak spot on the roof while he was working and had broken his neck. He couldn't scream for help, and no one ever knew what happened to him as the owners were
poor
gone for 2
thing.
weeks. He was finally found when they came back, but had already died.
I guess 2 weeks.
This happened
with a
right
broken neck?
above my bedroom. Suddenly, I felt bad for the poor guy, and I
Yeah.
guess he's still looking after things. Since then, I've seen him sometimes, but I'm no longer afraid of him.
God dang it. Y'all, you know, I don't know if I would be afraid after I realized what was going on too, especially if they didn't have bad intentions or whatever. But that's got to be unnerving as hell, especially if you find out that somebody actually died and all of those facts kind of just meet together and the story becomes true. Oof, Wansee's always pulling out these true stories, man, and they always intrigue. And I was just talking about the other day how we didn't do any paranormal stories, and this was pretty paranormal too. I hope y'all really liked it. Make sure to hit Wansee up at his channel right here. And if you like Wansee's videos and me reacting to them, here's another couple right here, guys. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time.
Break it down.